For 3 weeks, Amara kept dreaming of a white mansion she had never seen before, crying babies and a voice calling her name. But when she found that same abandoned house on Makondo Road, everything made sense. Hidden in her late mother's photo was a note that said, "Don't ever go there, Amara. You carry what he wants." That's when she realized her mother was one of the 6 murdered brides, and she is the 7th. For years, the mansion at Makondo stood empty. Tall weeds swallowed the once beautiful garden, dust covered the windows, and the gate hung loosely from its rusted hinges. Locals called it Duru Nnamdi, the house that breathes. No one went near it, not even thieves. But then came Mr. and Mrs. Okore, a young couple from the city who had just returned from abroad. They'd heard the rumors, of course, that strange things happened there, but they didn't believe in superstition. To them, it was just an old mansion, a perfect place to start over. They bought it cheap, renovated the outside, repainted the walls, and moved in with their 8-year-old daughter, Chika. For the first few weeks, everything seemed fine. The air felt fresh, the rooms looked brighter, and the laughter of a child echoed through the halls again. It almost felt like the house had come back to life. Almost. Then, things began to shift. It started small, lights flickering at midnight, taps running on their own, doors that opened even after being locked. Mrs. Okore would wake up some nights and find all the mirrors in the house covered with a thin layer of fog. But the strangest of all was Chika. She started talking to someone her parents couldn't see. At first, they thought it was an imaginary friend, until they noticed her conversation sounded real. One morning, Mrs. Okore overheard her whispering near the hallway mirror. "Who are you talking to, baby?" She smiled innocently. "The lady in white." Her mother froze. "What lady?" She said her husband buried her in the garden. She laughed it off nervously, but that night she couldn't sleep. She kept replaying her daughter's words in her head. At exactly 2:14 a.m., she heard something, faint footsteps moving upstairs. She turned to wake her husband, but he was already sitting up, eyes wide open. "You heard it too," he whispered. They followed the sound slowly, their flashlights shaking in their hands. The noise led them to Chika's room. When they opened the door, the window curtains were blowing wildly even though the window was locked. And there she was, a woman standing in the corner of the room, dressed in a torn white wrapper, her face pale and streaked with dirt, her hair hanging over one shoulder. She turned slowly, her voice trembling like wind through dry leaves. "He never left." Mrs. Okore screamed. The woman vanished instantly, leaving behind only a damp footprint on the tiled floor, shaped like the sole of a man's shoe. The next morning, they packed their things. They didn't bother closing the door behind them. By the time the movers arrived, they found the house empty again. The workers said they heard a woman laughing softly from the upstairs window, but when they looked up, no one was there. Since then, every family that tries to live in that mansion leaves within days. Some say the woman in white appears to warn them. Others claim the shadow of a man still walks the corridors, watching anyone who dares to stay past midnight. And if you ever drive past Makondo Road at night, you might see it too. The light flickering faintly in the master bedroom window, like someone waiting for their next guest. Years passed. The mansion on Makondo Road became more than a legend. It became a warning. Children were told never to go near it. Drivers avoided looking at it after dark. But one woman didn't believe the stories. Her name was Ngozi Eke, a documentary filmmaker known for chasing real-life mysteries. She'd heard the tale of the 6 brides of Duru Nnamdi and wanted to prove it was all superstition. So one evening she arrived with her camera crew, 2 men and 1 woman, determined to spend the night in the mansion. "Let's show them ghosts don't exist," she laughed as they set up their equipment. By 9 p.m., the house was alive again. Camera lights flashing, recorders humming, footsteps echoing through the halls. For a while, nothing happened. Then, Ngozi started noticing odd things in the footage playback. Reflections in mirrors that didn't match reality. Shadows moving even when no one was walking. And a faint whisper on one of the audio tracks that sounded like a woman crying. She brushed it off. It's just interference. But at exactly 12:03 a.m., one of the cameras upstairs turned off by itself. The cameraman, Kelechi, went to check. Minutes passed, then 10. He didn't come back. Ngozi followed with her flashlight. "Kelechi," she called. No answer. She climbed the stairs slowly, the wood creaking under her feet. The beam of her flashlight caught something on the floor. Kelechi's cap, soaked in blood. She turned around to run, but there, at the end of the hallway, stood a woman in white, the same ghost every witness had described. Her voice was a whisper, soft and broken. "He wants another bride." Ngozi backed away, heart pounding. Who are you?" The woman stepped forward, and for a second, her face flickered, shifting between Zainabu, Adeze, and Lara. "We were all his brides. He fed on our fear. Now he wants you." The light exploded. Ngozi screamed as the house came alive. Doors slamming, mirrors cracking, the air thick with whispers. Her camera fell, capturing one last image. Her terrified face reflected in a mirror, and behind her, the tall shadow of a man wearing a white robe. When police arrived the next morning, all they found was the camera. The footage ended abruptly at 12:07 a.m. Ngozi Eke and her team were never found. The mansion was sealed for the final time. Authorities called it unsafe. Locals called it cursed. And now, when the moon rises over Makondo Road, people say you can still see her. Ngozi, wandering the balcony in her red jacket, camera in hand, filming shadows that no one else can see. Some even claim she's become the last bride. Many years before Duru Nnamdi became a name whispered in fear, he was just another young hustler trying to survive in the city of Oniba. Back then, life was rough. Duru sold spare parts in the market. He slept in his shop and ate only once a day. He wanted more. He wanted power, wealth, respect. One night, frustrated by poverty, he met an old man who changed his destiny forever. The man was called Papa Ewe, a mysterious wanderer said to know the secrets of unseen forces. "Boy," the old man said, his eyes glowing faintly, "you want wealth? You want to live like a king? Then be ready to give what kings cannot give." Duru laughed. "I'll give anything. I'm tired of being poor." The old man smiled slowly. "Then come to the river of Ewu at midnight tomorrow. Come alone. Bring a cock and your blood." And that was how it started. At midnight, Duru went to the river bank with a cock and a bowl. The air was heavy and the moon was red, like it had witnessed too much. The old man appeared from the mist, muttering incantations. "Cut your finger," he commanded. Duru did. His blood dripped into the water. The river bubbled, the cock screamed and fell silent. Then a voice echoed from the darkness. "Your wealth has been accepted, but your years are 5. To extend your life, you must feed us what brings life, a mother and her child within." Duru froze. What do you mean?" The old man smiled. "Pregnant women, boy. That is the price. Every year, 1, until your time is full." That night, Duru walked away rich. His shop grew, his name spread, and money flowed like a river. He bought lands, cars, and built the biggest mansion on Makondo Road. But from the day he laid the first brick, strange things began to happen. Construction workers complained of hearing babies crying in the empty rooms. Some even swore they saw hands rising from the foundation concrete before it hardened. When the mansion was completed, the old man appeared one last time. "You have 5 years," he said. "Use them wisely." And Duru did. Each year, one wife, each one young, pregnant, and gone before the year ended. Until Ngozi came. She was never meant to enter the story, never meant to survive, but she did. And when she opened that forbidden room, Duru's pack was broken. That same night, as he sat in police custody, Duru began to tremble. His stomach swelled like something alive was growing inside him. His eyes rolled back and a thick red fluid poured from his nose and mouth. By morning, he was gone. But the mansion remained, and those who pass by it at night still say they hear a man's voice crying from the locked room. My time is not yet over. 15 years had passed since the death of Duru Nnamdi. The mansion on Makondo Road had turned into a ghost landmark. Its tall gates chained shut, its walls overgrown with weeds. No one dared to buy it, not even land speculators. People said that anyone who tried to step beyond that gate would hear soft lullabies drifting from inside. Lullabies sung by unseen women. But time, as always, erases fear. A new investor came to town, Chief Nwafo Obieke, a wealthy businessman from Enugu. He was bold, arrogant, and proud of it. He wanted to turn the abandoned mansion into a luxury hotel. "Curses don't scare me," he said during a press conference. "This is 2038. Ghosts are stories for children. I deal with reality and profit." The crowd cheered, but the old people of Oniba shook their heads. They had seen this movie before. A week later, Chief arrived with engineers, surveyors, and security men. They broke the rusty chains on the mansion gate and stepped in for the first time in 15 years. The air inside was cold, unnaturally cold. The once beautiful chandelier hung crooked, covered in dust. Portraits of Duru still hung on the walls, their eyes following whoever passed. "Clean everything," Chief ordered. "I want this place shining by the weekend." And his workers obeyed. But that night, when they returned to their hotel, one of the engineers, a man named Ebuka, didn't come back. They thought he was running late until his phone was found inside the mansion, still recording. The video showed him walking through a hallway, muttering to himself when he stopped suddenly. There was a woman in white, standing at the end of the corridor, smiling. The video ended with a loud scream. The next morning, police searched the entire mansion. No body, no sign of struggle, just Ebuka's helmet on the floor. Chief Nwafo refused to stop. "Fear will not make me poor," he boasted. "Finish the renovation." But that same night, 3 more workers disappeared. The ones who survived told a story that sounded like madness. They saw pregnant women walking through the walls, their faces expressionless, their bellies glowing faintly. One whispered, "We are still waiting for our arrest." By the 3rd day, everyone had quit. Chief was alone. Still, he refused to give up. He walked into the mansion himself, determined to prove nothing supernatural existed. He reached the locked door, the one the police had sealed years ago. He forced it open. Inside was a long wooden table covered in dusty white cloths. Underneath each cloth lay the preserved bodies of 6 women, untouched by time. And right in the middle, a small cradle, rocking itself. Chief's scream echoed through the night. No one ever saw him again. By morning, the mansion gate was closed once more. And from that day, the locals started hearing something new. Not just crying, but laughter. Deep, heavy male laughter. Duru was back, and the mansion of Makondo Road had awakened again. Her name was Amara Odu, a 26-year-old fashion designer living in Port Harcourt. She had never been to Oniba before. She had never heard of Duru Nnamdi or his cursed mansion. Yet, every night for 3 weeks, she dreamt of it. In her dreams, she would see a grand white house standing alone on a long, empty road. The sky above it was always red, and the sound of crying babies echoed from inside. At first, she thought it was just stress, but then the dreams got stronger. In the 4th week, she started hearing a voice, soft, feminine, almost pleading. "Come and help us, Amara. We are waiting for you." She would wake up drenched in sweat, her heart pounding, her sewing machine light flickering beside her bed. One morning, Amara sat on her work table shaking. "What kind of nonsense dream is this?" she muttered. Her friend Lillian, who was also her apprentice, laughed. "Maybe someone wants to show you where treasure is buried." Amara forced a smile. But that night, she dreamt again, this time clearer than ever. She walked through the mansion's gate, saw a locked door, and when she tried to open it, a man's voice whispered in her ear, "You have her eyes." She screamed and woke up. The next day, she decided to find out if the place truly existed. She typed "abandoned mansion in Oniba" on her phone. The first picture that appeared made her blood run cold. It was the same house, the white mansion from her dreams. Amara froze. How? How is that possible? She scrolled through the article. It was about the Makondo Road mansion, known for the mysterious deaths of 6 brides and the recent disappearance of a businessman named Chief Nwafo. Her fingers trembled. Was she somehow connected to the story? For days, she tried to ignore it, but the voice in her dreams grew louder. "Come to us, Amara. You are the 7th. That night, she dreamt of herself standing in front of a mirror. Behind her reflection stood 6 pregnant women in white wrappers, staring blankly. One of them reached forward and touched her shoulder. "You carry his blood." Amara woke up screaming. The next morning, without telling anyone, she packed a small bag and boarded a bus to Oniba. She didn't even know why. Something stronger than reason was pulling her there. When the bus stopped at Makondo Junction, Amara stepped down. The air felt heavy, as if someone invisible was watching her. She asked a local boy, "Please, where's the old Nnamdi mansion?" The boy's eyes widened. "Auntie, don't go there. Oh. People who go there don't come back." But Amara just smiled weakly. "I won't enter. I only want to see it." By sunset, she was standing before the same iron gate she had seen in her dreams. Her hands shook. The weeds swayed as if whispering her name. She reached out, and the gate creaked open by itself. Inside, a cold wind rushed out and brushed her face. "Welcome home, Amara," a whisper said. Amara didn't remember walking through the gates. She just remembered the heavy sound of it closing behind her. The mansion stood silent, yet alive. Its windows seemed to breathe. Its walls seemed to listen. She walked slowly, clutching her bag, her eyes darting left and right. The house smelled of dust, perfume, and something old, like decayed flowers. "Hello?" she whispered. No answer. Then, faintly, she heard soft humming, a lullaby. It was coming from upstairs. Amara's body trembled, but her feet moved on their own. She climbed the cracked marble stairs until she reached a long corridor lined with portraits. Each portrait showed a woman, beautiful, sad, dressed in white. And below each frame was a name: Ngozi, Ifunanya, Chika, Oma, Bisi, Nneka. 6 women, 6 brides. As she looked at them, something strange happened. Her heart began to race. She recognized one of the faces, the last portrait. It looked exactly like her late mother. She stumbled back, whispering, "No, that can't be. My mother was never here." But the resemblance was undeniable. Same dimples, same eyes, same mole under the left brow. She touched the frame, and the moment her fingers brushed the nameplate, Duru Nnamdi, the portrait cracked open like glass. Inside was a hidden compartment containing an old envelope. Inside was a letter written in shaky handwriting. "If you find this, it means the curse has reached you. I was his 6th wife. He promised us heaven, but built us a tomb. If I don't make it out, tell my daughter Amara never return here. She carries what he wants." Amara dropped the letter, her knees weak. Her mother had been here. Her mother, Nneka, was one of Duru's 6 wives. She whispered through tears, "Mama, you lied to me." Just then, thunder cracked outside and the lights flickered on by themselves. In the reflection of the cracked portrait glass, Amara saw a man standing behind her. Tall, broad shoulders, face half hidden in shadow. "You found the truth," he said softly, "my bride's child." Amara turned slowly, her lips trembling. "Who are you?" The man smiled faintly. "Duru, and you are what I could never have, blood that survived." Her breath caught. You're dead." He stepped closer. His eyes glowed faintly red. "Death is only a door, and now that you've opened it, we can finally be a family again." Amara backed away, clutching the wall. "Stay away from me." But Duru only smiled wider. Behind him, the 6 brides appeared, floating silently, their bellies round, their faces pale like chalk. "She's the 7th. She completes the circle." Amara screamed, bolted down the stairs, and ran toward the front gate, but it had vanished. In its place stood a solid wall. She turned, gasping, and saw the portraits burning on their own, one after the other. And above the fire, Duru's voice echoed, "No one leaves until the circle is full." Amara ran through the dark halls, screaming for help that would never come. The mansion was alive now, doors slamming, chandeliers swaying, shadows twisting across the walls like living things. Every mirror she passed reflected not her face, but her mother's, whispering, "Don't let him take you." Upstairs, Makondo Road and Duru's laughter filled the house, deep, echoing and cruel. "You can't run from blood, Amara. You are born for this." His voice boomed through every wall, every crack, every echoing corridor. Amara stumbled into a large hall, the same one from her dreams. In the center stood a table covered in white cloth. 6 chairs surrounded it, and one empty seat waiting at the head. The 6 brides appeared again, floating around her like silent ghosts. Their faces were calm now, too calm. Their bellies glowed faintly, pulsing like candlelight. Amara whispered, trembling, "What do you want from me?" Their voices blended together, hollow and haunting. "Freedom." Before she could move, the white cloth on the table lifted by itself, revealing 6 bowls filled with black water. And then Duru appeared at the head of the table, dressed in white, his eyes burning red. You complete what they could not, the 7th vessel, the one with living blood. He raised his hand and the air grew heavy. The floor cracked and dark smoke coiled around Amara's legs like snakes. Amara fell to her knees, gasping. Her mother's voice suddenly echoed inside her. "Use the name, Amara. Call the name he fears." "The name?" she whispered. "What name?" Then, in her mind, she saw a flash, her mother writing that letter, crying, whispering a word again and again. It was the name of the god Duru betrayed long ago, Ekwensu, the bringer of punishment. Amara screamed the name aloud. "Ekwensu, come and take what belongs to you." The mansion shook violently. Lightning flashed through every window. The 6 brides wailed as blinding white light burst from their bellies, one by one, freeing them. Duru staggered back, shouting in rage, "No, you don't know what you have done." Amara stood, her eyes glowing now, her mother's spirit merging with hers. "You took their lives, now they'll take your peace." The air split open, and a dark, shadowy figure stepped out from the flames, tall, horned, ancient, Ekwensu. With one roar, the spirit of Duru Nnamdi was dragged into the darkness, his screams fading into silence. When the light cleared, the mansion was gone. Only Amara stood in an open field, her mother's spirit smiling faintly beside her. "It's over, my child. The curse is broken." Tears ran down Amara's face. "Will I ever see you again?" Her mother's ghost shook her head. "Not in this life, but you have freed us all." The wind blew gently, and the spirits of the 6 brides rose into the air like fireflies, disappearing into the dawn. Amara fell to her knees, sobbing, but this time out of relief. When the villagers found her the next morning, she was unconscious near the ruins of the old mansion, holding a burnt photograph of her mother. They said the mansion had finally vanished, swallowed by the earth. And from that day on, no one ever heard the cries from Makondo Road again. But sometimes, on stormy nights, people say they can still see a woman in white walking near the old road, whispering softly, "Tell my story so it never happens again."